The reason your website might not be working has nothing to do with design and everything to do with whether you've ever told the real story, your story, and most people haven't. Hi, I'm Stephanie Marie, a web designer for women entrepreneurs that are living out their calling. And this is episode 1 of 7 in my website message makeover series. There's a free workbook that goes along with this series that is called the 30-minute marketing message makeover. And I've linked it in the description below so you can follow along step by step as we go. And before we get into strategy and messaging or your website, I want to start somewhere personal because I don't think you can understand your message until you understand where it comes from. So throughout this series, as I go through the teachings and how to develop your message for your ideal client, I will be giving you some of my personal story as well, so you can see how I have fit my story into my messaging. So for 20 plus years, I worked in the corporate world. I showed up and I built a career that on the outside looked like I had everything put together. But there was always something underneath that didn't quite fit. It was a pull towards something more creative, more purposeful, and definitely more mine. And for a long time, I did what a lot of us do. I talked myself out of it because I was in the safe place. I was in my comfort zone. I was in the known thing, the thing that made sense on paper and paid all the bills. And I knew that I would be getting that paycheck twice a month. And then I went through one of the hardest seasons of my life. And in the middle of that season, something in the waiting room, something started to shift within me. The thing I had been talking myself out of for years suddenly felt less like an option because I had to leave my corporate job. So I decided to move forward with what I had been dreaming about. I started my own business. In particular, I started my web design business. And I called it Bloom to Life Web. And I threw myself into it. The work, the clients, the brand. I cared deeply about every single project, and I still do. And I was learning and growing and doing work I genuinely loved. And I felt invisible. And it wasn't because the work that I was doing wasn't good. It was because I had done something that I hadn't realized that I had done at the time. I had hidden behind the business name, Bloom to Life Web. I had created this careful distance between the brand and me, between the work and my faith, and between the woman showing up online and the woman who I actually was. My faith is real. It has shaped everything about how I see my clients and how I approach the work that I do. It is the why behind everything that I do, and it's why I care so much about helping women step into their calling. But I was keeping all that separate. I was keeping it compartmentalized. Like it didn't belong in the business. Like my faith didn't belong in my business. Like they were two separate things. It was who I was and what I did. And I felt maybe at the time that I didn't know that I felt that it needed to stay on the opposite sides of a line I had drawn without meaning to. And the cost of that separation was that I never fully showed up. The world was meeting Bloom to Life Web, but they weren't meeting the true me. So I made another decision within my business. I decided I was going to stop hiding. I was going to step out from behind the brand name and just be myself, Stephanie Marie, my actual name. The name attached to my whole story, my faith, and everything I had been quietly keeping off to the side. And when I rebuilt around that, around my real story, my real voice, my real reasons for doing this work, something shifted. The right women started finding me, not because I changed what I did, but because I had finally let them meet who I was and see me for who I am. That is what this series is all about. It's not about design or tactics. It's about the story underneath your work and your why. The moments that shaped you, the reasons that are real, and the voice that is actually yours. Because that is what makes someone land on your website and feel like they've found the right person. I don't know your story, but I know this. You have moments that shaped you too, seasons that have changed your direction, decisions that cost you something. A reason to do this work that goes deeper than the services you offer. And somewhere in those moments is the most powerful marketing and messaging you will ever create. Not because it's a strategy, but because it's true. And people can feel the difference between something that's not crafted and something that comes from a real place. The woman you're called to serve are not looking for a perfect brand. They're looking for someone who understands them, who has been somewhere near where they are right now, who sees them not just as a client, but as a person with a real story who deserves to be seen. And this is what your messaging can do. When it's built on the right foundation, that foundation starts with your moment. So this is exactly what this series and the workbook and where the workbook begins. In step 1, it's called the moments that shaped you. And it's not a marketing exercise. It's an honest look at the experiences, seasons, and decisions that made you who you are and brought you to what you do and where you are today. If you haven't downloaded it, the link is in the description below. And if you have, open it up. Step 1 is waiting for you. Start here. Don't overthink it. Just write the moments that still matter, the ones you still carry, and the ones that show up quietly in how you serve. So that's your starting point. It's not a tagline and it's not a positioning statement. It's just your story, because everything else we build in this series is going to be built on top of that. So thank you for being here with episode 1. I know this may have been or feel a little different, but before you get into the strategy, I wanted to start with the foundation. Your story matters, your moments matter, and this series is going to help you turn those things into the message that actually connects to your dream client. If you haven't downloaded the workbook yet, make sure you grab it below in the description so you can follow along with each step as we go. If this is helping you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this series. And if you're already thinking, I want my website to reflect this more clearly, that's exactly what my 3-day web design experience is all about. You can find that link in the description below as well. And in episode 2, we're going to go deeper into the moments that you are currently writing down and how to know which ones actually belong in your message. So I'll see you there.